Okay, in this section we're going to have a look at adding chapters. Now, what are chapters? First of all, if anybody who's familiar with watching DVDs, you knows that you can go from chapters, which normally means from scene 1 is chapter 1, chapter 2 is scene 2, and scene 3, and so on. Well, if we were making this movie and putting it on our end product onto DVD, and by doing that we would actually go up to share and send the film to iDVD, and that iDVD would make the film into a DVD and burn onto disc for you. But if we want to add chapters, we can add chapters here in iMovie. To do that, we go down to the tab and click on chapters, which is down the very last one on the right there, and we get this window up here. We get something called a frame and a chapter title. Well, what we need to do is place the playhead along the timeline, and I'm going to put chapter 1 at the beginning of the timeline, because that's going to be scene 1 of chapter 1, and click on add marker. Now, I'm glad this happened. We got an error, and this is good because I like when errors happen so we can discuss them. This part here says that this chapter will automatically be moved to the beginning of the movie. Chapters within the first second of the video must be placed at the beginning of the movie. Okay, that's fine. So our first chapter has gone to the very beginning of the movie. That's fine, that suits me. And now up here we get a picture of that chapter. Because it's black, that's fine, and I can type in a name. On this I'm going to put opening scene. Opening scene. And press return. Now, notice this, you also get a link for the URL. Well, if you're making this movie, Chapters also works with podcasting. So have you noticed when you're watching a podcast that you can click between the chapters? Well, you can do that here by adding chapters in your movie for podcasts. So in this case, what I could do is I click on the link URL and I can put in www.fisfiche.ie, which is our website. If I put it in there, what could happen is that when I'm watching the podcast, I have the additional information that I can click off from that piece of information to my website. Now, why is that useful? Well, that could be very useful that if you're selling a product, for example, a hammer and a chisel, and you're selling the hammer, and on chapter 1 you're actually chapter 1 is all that product information about the hammer. Well, you could also have a link off to the hammer web page on your website, so they can specifically go and order that off their web page. So this can be incredibly advanced. But in a classroom environment, which is where we would be working, this might be the case where you've built a website around your project. For example, maybe it was all about nature, and scene 1 is about trees. Well, you might have built a website about trees, and so as part of your podcast, you could type in the web page exactly of where the web page is for the tree information, and it'll link straight off for you in your podcast. But in this case, what we're really looking at is for iDVD, so for making a DVD. So now I'm going to go to chapter 2. Now in this case, this is all the same scene, but for purposes of demonstration, this is going to be my chapter 2. Just click on the add marker. Up comes a still frame of it, and I can put in scene 2. And press return, and there we have it. And that's how you add chapters for your iDVD, or you can also add chapters for your podcasts.